There's a new Steam curator out there, folks, who is collecting all the information available on how games developers have reacted to the murderous political assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, why are we talking about this on an entertainment channel, you may ask? We've got dogs here to entertain you while we fill you to the brim with our perspective. So, yes, I think it's a very good thing that we've got another curator group on Steam showcasing all the games and all the developers and publishers who reacted to Charlie Kirk's murderous political assassination in a negative way, and the very few game devs who were actually mournful. I think that's good to see who did what in which situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Roder, since he was the last person to speak on the previous topic. He'll be the first person to speak on this topic. Roder, what do you make of this whole situation while I try my best to share my screen?
Well, the thing is, if people are going to be saying these vile things, it's exactly the same as the previous case. They need to be called out. So, like, putting together like a curator group where we can actually see who's said what and when, I think it's a very smart thing to do, not only because we deserve as customers to know what the devs of our games have been saying. So if we want to boycott them, we can. It's also a deterrent for them to actually go around saying crap like that in the first place, especially in like such on fire times where topics are very, very emotive and really genuinely tragic things are happening. Evil, tragic things are happening. So good on them for creating the group. Excellent move. I completely agree.
So this is courtesy of Pirate Nation, folks. Quote, someone created a Steam curator listing devs who said good or bad things about Charlie Kirk's death. It has a lot more than 112 followers now, I can tell you that, folks. But it's divided between recommended, which is positive, and not recommended, which is, of course, negative. Now, Bethesda devs were recently revealed to essentially, they spoke bad about Charlie Kirk's murderous political assassination. But there have been a few indie devs who have reacted more positively, such as the creators of Victory Heart Rally, which is a nice cartoon rally game. So there's the context, folks. We love to cover surface area issues so that we can really penetrate them as we go on. I mean, Slay's a gamer. Slay, what do you make of this situation?
Well, one of the first things I noticed about this topic was that even Yorch Torch called the curator list an excellent initiative, which is crazy because it seems like he's having sort of like a redemption arc lately and finding like takes of his that we actually agree with for once.
Is Byron there? He can say, buy my book, buy my book.
Buy my book. Anyway, sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Good. It's all right. It's all right, my good man. We'll get to your perspective, and I'll unmute you when you do, because Byron is working while he's on a live stream. It's very risque. Carry on, Slay.
Yeah, I also noticed a few of the games on the list were either already in my library or on my wish list, so I delisted those like immediately. And now I find myself in a shitty position because I'm like a level or two away from beating Doom 64, and now Bethesda has to go and mock the death of Charlie Kirk using a cat, no less. And I find myself in a position questioning whether or not I should cancel my Game Pass now too because of Xbox's BS. But luckily I have so many digital and physical games in my library that if everyone was to actually buckle down and boycott the industry for 2 years, like Grums had initially suggested way before all of this, I could go those 2 years or even more without buying a new game and still have enough to play forever.
All right, then. Well, we'll get Byron's perspective next, so that once he's finished, we can mute him because he's working. Byron, what do you make of this whole situation?
Well, first, just a quick test. You can still hear me, all right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I hear you.
Thank you. I have been an enthusiast of video games since the days of Pole Position and Pac-Man and Galaga on the Atari 2600. I love video games as a hobby, as a pastime, as a way to entertain myself. But I have long understood that they are a luxury expense. It is something that is not necessary to the continuation of my day-to-day existence and life. And while cutting myself off from them would be, deleterious to continued enjoyment, I have a gigantic backlog thanks to owning several retro gaming devices. And I think that if folks were so inclined, I would encourage them to also look into getting some of these retro devices and putting a stranglehold on purchasing anything new from any of the developers or publishers or distributors of games that have been placed on a list such as the one on Steam, because the only way these people tend to recognize that they've really monumentally screwed up is if you hit them in the only place they actually care about, which is their pocketbook. It's the only way in which they will understand, oh, we are collectively being told we screwed up and now we're going to pay the price, because that is what you do in an open and free market. You let people know, hey, you screwed up pretty bad. The punishment is going to be the withholding of my hard-earned money. You want me to support your endeavors? How about you support the fact that me and mine get to live peaceably? If you can't do that, if you can't employ people who at least have the human dignity and decency to not act like a bunch of yiddling idiots, then perhaps you can do without my cash.
And that's a great point, folks. And I can just imagine working with Byron. He's driving the car and he's talking. It's like he's talking to himself and responding to other people, and then realizing he's schizophrenic and driving a car and talking to himself. And I'm thinking, oh shit, I've got to get out of this vehicle right now.
Oh, no worries. My co-pilot, he jabbers in my skull all the time. Just going to add into the joke there.
Right. It's perfectly fine, Byron. So what we're going to do now is we'll just mute Byron so we don't have to hear any background music. Don't worry. It's not personal. It's not personal, but we got to do that because background noise can annoy people watching. What about you, Legion? Are you there? What do you make of this whole topic?
I am here, and look, I'm probably going to take a stance that again is somewhat similar to. So, speaking of Bethesda,
Go ahead.
I'm a very big Bethesda fan, right? I love the Fallout franchise. I think Fallout 3 is great. I know that Fallout New Vegas is basically it's a Bethesda engine and taking from basically the parameters. Obsidian did a better job in my opinion. I think Fallout New Vegas is the best one by far. I like Fallout 4. It's not great. It's not my favorite. I like Fallout 76. It's my second least favorite, but I like it more than 4. I'm a big fan of Bethesda. I love the Elder Scrolls games. It's what got me into Elder Scrolls is what got me into playing RPGs religiously. Because it was a very different RPG than Knights of the Old Republic, which is what got me into those style. Anyway, the crap they put out. First off, Indiana Jones, not in any movie that he's ever been in has he talked about fascism or calling somebody a fascist. He might call them Nazis because, again, there were Nazis in the movies. So, because he'd be like, he'd have to reference to who they were at the time, right? Because in the Ark of the Covenant, they had hold of it and stuff like that. Anyway, for him to pet a cat and be like, "Oh, you don't care about these Nazis, do you?" And it's like, "I'm sorry, these fascists, do you?" And it's like, he wouldn't say that. Doesn't sound like something he would say. And you posted it the day after, like, what the I'm sorry, you posted it just recently. Was it recently, or was it a few days ago? Anyway, when they got backlash over it, they didn't say anything. They didn't say, "Hey guys, our bad. This was a clip from the game," or anything like that. Again, I don't know why. I don't know whose social media, because they have a social media team, of course, the manager, whatever, whose login posted this. All you had to do is say, "Hey, we didn't mean it that way. Said person, hypothetically the social media manager, has been let go for this. We found out there was political motivation. We condemn any type of political violence, and we are very sorry for the loss of recent lives over certain things." And it's not hard to dig yourself out of the hole. Like, the whole company didn't do it, but now, because you decided to cower, and they did mean it that way, Dash. I 100% agree. Whoever posted this, and probably was the social media manager, fire their ass. Put them on the pyre, not physically, but on the pyre of, you know what, your ass is fired. Get the hell out of our company now. Get out. Like, if you don't get out, we're gonna get security, and you're gonna be removed, and then we're gonna have the cops trespass you, and you're gonna probably be arrested. That's not hard. They didn't do that.
Noise polluters, glows